Is energy. And that the energy is moved into substance through something, a receiver. That would be us. We allow ourselves to receive the impress of an idea, and then we begin to follow it. And as we follow it, we begin to answer the call and move into a life that can be spectacular if we choose to follow. The song that Genevieve just sang is from Moana, as many probably already know. And it's about that call. There's an expectation for that little girl to stay away from the sea, to not go where her heart is pulling her to, but to stay put. But there's that pull. You know what that pull? You feel that pull sometimes? You pull to do something, to act, to behave. And we sometimes block and stop ourselves from doing that because we're afraid of disappointing our parents, our teachers, our friends, a sibling. The call has been right in front of us, deep inside of us, pushing and pulling us to something or away from something from the moment of our birth. Now, sometimes, somewhere along the way, we got a message that we should do something different, be something different. And most often, it is a message of survival. You can't do A, B, or C because you would never earn a living doing it. So you must go and do X, Y, and Z because that's where the money is. Anybody ever hear that? Yes. So we're living our lives from survival. I do not believe that that was God's intention when we were created. I think we were created to be spectacular, magnificent, terrific, beyond our wildest imaginings. I think we were born to be great. Not some of us, but all of us. And that greatness comes from answering the personal call, the little something, something that each one of us has that is unique to us. It is about answering that call. It's about looking at the world outside, going, thank you very much for sharing, and let me go to the ocean, the place that's pulling me. We're on a journey. I think we're here to do only one thing: live. And you know, there are a bunch of us who are, instead of living, we're putting in time. Putting in time. Putting in time to retirement. Putting in time to, I don't know, death. Putting in time, right? Why do we do this? Why wouldn't we answer that call? And we don't answer it for a number of reasons, but really it's about a fear that we might be judged, or a fear that maybe we'll fall flat on our face, or worse yet, we might even succeed. And then if we succeed, what will be expected of us? What does our dream demand of us if we answer it? What does it demand of us if we say yes? If we step boldly into that great big dream, then what? No more laying on the sofa around the clock watching reality TV. Unless that's your call, I don't know. We're here to live. We're here to show up. We're here to be in service. And we're here to be in service to each other. There's only one thing going on. There's only one of us here. And we're all in this great soup pot, so to speak. And we all add flavor and substance to it. And yet within it, we're still individuals. It's like making a stew with carrots and green beans. Evan likes the green beans. But knowing that the carrot is still the carrot, and yet somehow it flavors everything else that's in there. And that's the same story for you and I. What we do, how we do it, where we do it, when we do it, we are touching each other's lives, and we're doing it constantly and continuously, whether we know it or not, whether we like it or not. It's either positive or neutral or negative or whatever, but we are touching lives. And so we have a choice when we come into a space or into a room. Are we answering our call in that moment? What is God calling us to in that moment? Griping and complaining about the weather, perhaps? I think not. Gossiping about the other person in the office next door? Probably not. We're being called to live, and to live with a sense of love and celebration, to live with a sense of, I am Christ expressing, just like you. And I'll tell you, I don't know about you, but if I walked into Christ right now and we bumped into each other in the subway perhaps, I probably wouldn't yell at him. I might go, whoa, thank you. But what if we did that with each other? What if we began to change our frame of reference, began to change the way we choose to live or to show up, to change the way that we are in the world? What if we stood up instead and said, you know what, I was called to greatness, so let me be that. And let me look at the ways in which I can serve humanity, every person around me, my family, my friends, my dog and cat, my chinchilla. Oh, it's Genevieve's chinchilla. Whatever it is, can I call myself to love that I remember that every single thing on the planet has life and has purpose and has a reason? And because it has a reason, can I bring myself to give my full self to it? We're being called. Now, we're being called all the time, and the call is there. It's constant and continuous, and we like to hit kind of like the snooze button on your alarm clock. Later, God, I'll get back to you. After I've done this, I'll get back to you. Oh, you know what? Let me just put you on hold for a minute. Oh, sorry, I got another call coming in. I'll get back to you later. We're living our lives like somehow later exists. But you know, there's only now. There's only now. There's now. So what are you doing now? How are you preparing now? If everything is energy and the way we move energy is through ourselves and through our thinking, what is it that you're thinking about? Lunch, perhaps? What is it you're thinking about? And we think about all kinds of things, right? We think about, what am I going to do when? And, when the children move out of the house and I have the house to myself, I can travel, I can do this and that. Or, when I get married and my life will be so spectacular. Your life is your life, and it will always be your life, and it will never change. You are who you are, who you are, who you are, and all of the circumstances around you are only going to help you to reflect that more and more. And the more you resist it, the more suffering you create, and the more you accept it, the more joy and celebration is in your life, and everybody around you as well. You see, we're on a journey, and it's not about putting in time. It's about living full and large. It's about living with a sense of possibility and opportunity, knowing that there is something for us to do. Khalil Gibran said the call is life's longing for itself. That's beautiful. That call inside of you is like God saying, let me out. Let me out of this box. What are you doing? I'm feeling restricted. It's that call to express and to be. And it's up to each one of us to answer it. So in the reading today from the Daily Inspiration, it said that we were endowed with the gift of life. My question to you is, are you living it? Or are you living somebody else's idea for what your life should be? Have you bought into the idea that there is only one way to do it? Have you limited your possibilities because you think the economy is this or that? Or you think the latest leader of the various parties is going to create something or other in your life? How are you living your life? Are you living it from the outside in? Do you remember that God within you is the absolute everything? Everything you have need of, you already have it. Everything you will ever need, you already have. Everything that is required for you to fulfill the biggest dreams of your life, which frankly are probably pretty small compared to what God's expectation and vision is for you. But if you were to live toward that, are you doing it? Or is it safer to be the wallflower? Is it safer to hide in the corner and pretend, we'll just keep the status quo? Don't we like the status quo? It's kind of a comfortable place, isn't it? We're familiar with it. That's why it feels comfortable. Sometimes that familiar place is really uncomfortable, but we like it anyway because it's familiar. But what if we were to step out? What if we were to take these things that we've been endowed with? Faith that yes, it's going to work out because it's my call. God gave it to me. It must work out. Why would I doubt it? Because I believe in the manifest world more than the infinite? That's what's calling me. Love. Love is that beingness, that full aliveness. That's that willingness to accept everything exactly as it is and to move into it with gusto and with a sense of celebration, knowing that that's life. And it's calling me. Strength. It's already in you. You don't have to develop it. You don't need to go to the gym and pump iron. You are absolutely endowed with strength right here, right now. It's not something you need to go get at, Good Life Fitness. Right now, you have it. I'm not saying don't exercise. Probably should do that. How about understanding? How often do we look at life in a situation and we decide on our own terms to interpret what it is and what it means rather than seeking to understand what is truly going on for ourselves and another? We stand back and we let go of all of the greatness that is within us and we settle for something less. Someone once said that when you settle for less than what you really want, you get less than you settled for. I have proven that over and over again. I'll get the lesson, I'm sure. Power. We have a misunderstanding about power. I asked one of my clients, a 12-year-old, the other day, how do you feel about power and wealth? Oh, it's bad, she said. I said, well, let's talk. Wow, at 12 years old, thinking being powerful is a bad thing. Power is that natural ability within us to be who we are and to do it fully and completely. It is the energy, the vibration that moves us. It's the very thing that we require in order to be all that we were meant to be. Power is good. What is not so good is if I exert power and hurt someone in the process because I try to overpower them. But that's not power. That's fear. If I think I need to tromp on you, that's fear. That is not power. Power is loving, and it's big, and it's divine. And we are powerful, creative beings, and it's time that we celebrated and rejoiced in that idea. Imagination, what are you using yours for? Oh, well, the economy is going down the hill. Oh, it's going to rain again. The island's flooded. Oh, no, where's my teenager? They're 15 minutes late from curfew. We're not thinking that they're having a good time. We're thinking they're getting into trouble or they're in trouble. We're using our imagination constantly and continuously. It is a faculty of our mind, and it is powerful. And it is creating the very next thing that we will experience in one way or another, and it is impacting the world that we live in. How are we using our imagination? Do we use it to look at the news and go, oh my goodness, you won't believe what happened yesterday on the news? Are we using it for that? And are we imagining worst case scenarios because of what we saw? Or are we looking at the news, having a chuckle and turning it off? That's my favorite way, if my husband will let me near the control. Wisdom and good judgment. We are wise. How many times have you said to yourself or to a little child or to somebody, wow, that was dumb. What a dumb thing to do. You're ever stupid. Oh, what an idiot. Anybody ever do that? That is a loud message. That is a loud message. We are wise. And we can use that wisdom. That's our good judgment. Let's use that. Let's use it to create the life we say we want to create. Let's use it to create the world we want to live in. Our world is not broken. Our world is not in a mess. It is merely a reflection of our fear. We want to fix it? We don't need to go to war. We need to go within ourselves and choose to live the life God gave us to live and to allow the people around us to do the very same thing, and then choose love. Because love is the answer. It doesn't really matter what the question is. We know these faculties, and we know that we all have them. We were born with them. And we know that we can use them consciously. Or we can put life on pause, go back to sleep, get back to the soaps, the reality shows. Now, there's nothing wrong with taking a little break and watching a little, I don't want to give away all my secrets. There's nothing wrong with taking a moment to relax and chill and watch a soap opera or a reality show or some great mystery. There's nothing wrong with that. But where are we living 90% of the time? Where are we living 20% of the time, 40% of the time? Are we worried about tomorrow? Are we worried something bad's going to happen? Are we thinking, everything's going to that fiery place? What are we thinking about? And what are we prepared to do instead? Are we willing to focus our attention on the call? Are we willing to take a little bit of time every day in silence so that we can listen to God's plan for that day? I don't plan my life 10 years in advance. I haven't figured out how to do that. Plus, then I'll be 70. Youch. Oh, sorry. Just seems like a lot for me. I can't plan 10 years in advance, but I can wake up in the morning and appreciate that I'm awake. And I can wake up in the morning and I can appreciate that the rain is watering my garden and letting my weeds flourish, that the sun is shining and bringing out every dandelion in my whole yard, brilliantly yellow and fabulous, allowing the bees to flourish while my tulips start to bud. Or I can scratch my head, grab a cup of coffee, sit down at my computer, read the news, and prepare my mind for a day of frustration or annoyance or upset. Every moment of every hour of every day, we're making choices. And those choices impact not just our life, they impact all life. If you make a pot of stew and you throw in 4 cups of pepper sauce, I probably won't be eating it. A little dash might be nice. But the 4 cups is going to kind of change the flavor of the carrots and the potatoes and the chickpeas. Am I right? And it's going to make it a little challenging to swallow for some. You live in God. Let me repeat that. You live in God. I live in God. We are one. What I do, what I say, what I think, how I behave, flavors that oneness, whether I like it or not, and whether you like it or not. So I ask you, what is it that you would like to flavor the pot with? What is it that you bring to the world? What is it that you bring that is so sweet and delicious that everyone smiles? What is it that you do that lifts and expands and creates more love in our world? What is it? And are you willing to just give it? See, sometimes we think our purpose is to go get a certain job and have a certain title and earn a certain amount of money. That's nice. might be part of it. But our gift might be the way we advocate for youth, advocate for women who are abused, advocate for the elderly who are infirm. That might be our real call. Can we do it? Our call might be something that makes us a little uncomfortable. Often it is, because it's calling us to greatness. And there is something that we're going to have to do. There's a price that we have to pay to live the life that we were given. And sometimes we're not quite ready to pay the price. Have you noticed that? That's when we put God on pause, on hold, or we simply just hang up and say, get back to you later. The call comes to us in simple ways, in easy ways, in continuous ways. It's quiet. Sometimes it's loud, really loud, as in an illness or getting fired from a job that's seemed to be everything. We get this loud, I call it the cosmic sledgehammer upside the head that goes, hello, wake up, calling, please answer, there's something I need you to do. Abram was called at 80. Well, probably earlier than that. But we listen when we listen, and then we listen part way, don't we? So the call comes, and we're told to do something. Go to the place that I will show you. And then we decide to pull out the map, set our own destination, and take everything along with us that we were asked to leave behind. Anybody ever do that? We need to listen to the call, and we need to answer the call the way it comes in. And that's the challenge for us, because we have an editor up here, and that editor has been trained from our birth and has decided that it knows the best way to accomplish things. And so the call gets adjusted. And then we go out and we think we're answering the call and we're doing what we do, and somehow it's fallen short, or we're hitting barriers. And when we hit those barriers, we don't do like water and just flow around and move in another direction. We bang our head against it for a while, don't we? Because we think if we do that, somehow the door will finally open and we can get on the other side of it. Rather than looking at it and going, let me just sit in the silence for a moment. Let me listen to that still small voice for a moment. And let me see if there is an opening somewhere else. Maybe there's a window that's cracked open slightly that if I were to take a look at it, I might see a new horizon. I might understand the call that came a little more clearly so that I can actually move with it in a way that brings harmony to my life and to others. We have forgotten the call, and it really is just our job to remember, because it's always, always been there. There's a great book called Callings by Greg Levoy, and he said that there's two essential questions that we need to ask often. And the first one, you got your pens and paper out? Mm-hmm. Okay, they're short. The first one is, what is right for me? What is right for me? Not what's right for Reverend Evan, for Richard, for Geneviève, Marita. What is right for me? Not what's right for my mother or my father. What's right for me? And then the second question is a little harder to deal with. Where am I willing to be led? I need water. Where am I willing to be led? We sometimes resist that, don't we? Somebody tries to lead us in a direction, push us in a direction we resist, rebel. I got a tickle in my throat here. I'll tell you, there's something trying to get my attention. Pardon me. So where am I willing to be led? Most often we're trading that authenticity for survival. What if instead we surrendered? What if instead we took time to breathe, to slow down for a minute? What if we took time to take notice of our lives and then ask the question, what is it begging me for? What is it asking for? If you think something's missing from your life, these questions are the questions you want to ask yourself, because the truth is nothing's missing. You might simply be ignoring the call. Where are you willing to be led? Are you willing to be led? That's a big question. Because sometimes we're not. Sometimes we're not. He says in here that calls are essentially questions. They aren't questions you necessarily need to answer outright. They are questions to which you need to respond. Expose yourself and kneel before. You ready to expose yourself? Are you ready to stand up and really be seen? Are you ready to stop hiding and allow yourself instead to make somebody else a little uncomfortable because you choose to be you, which happens to be, I don't know, loud and outgoing, or maybe more quiet and reserved, or maybe you love to sing and whatever it is, but you don't do it with anybody or for anybody because you're a little afraid of maybe how they might judge you or how they might look at you. Do I have the right to be this and all that? I don't know. You're created in the image and likeness of God. I think you're probably pretty good. Whatever you've been called to, I think, is pretty good, but we received messages that caused us to build walls around ourselves, not to actually take them down or move them, but to build them. And we built those walls, and now we sit back and we go, I'm too afraid to really step forward. I'm too afraid that what I'm being called to is too big or too much, or it's going to demand too much of me. It won't demand too much of you. It will demand all of you. Because it's you. It demands everything. That's why we're afraid of it. Because it demands everything. We cannot give 50% to it. We cannot put our toe in the water and go, I'm a bit chilly, and pull it back out. We have to dive in. We have to go all the way. We have to answer it in a way that's so loud, so absolutely 100% in, that there's no turning back. That's the kind of call that we like to resist, isn't it? We don't want to be all in. Look at marriage sometimes. Sometimes people think marriage is a 50-50 proposition. No, it's 100% or nothing. It's all in. It's one of those all-in things. Being a minister, all in. Being a minister isn't a, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 gig. It's a 24/7 life. You got to be all in. Are you all in? What is it that you love? What is it that calls to you? What is it that's speaking to you? What is asking you? And what are the excuses you are giving so that you don't have to do it? You know the only person you're lying to is you. The only person you're holding back is you. So what would it take to dive in? What would it take to stand up and go, all right, world, this is it. This is what God created, so like it or lump it, this is what you get. And then be that. Without reservation or hesitation, just be who you are. Everybody else has already been taken, so kind of might as well just be you, right? Can't be Evan. I'm not tall enough. What is it? What is it that you're resisting, afraid of? What is it that you're putting off day after day, year after year, and all of a sudden you wake up and go, oh dear. The numbers are expanding and the time left is diminishing and I haven't done it yet. At what point in time do you sit back and say enough is enough? I'm going to scream from the mountaintops. Have you ever done that? Have you ever been on the top of a mountain? It is amazing. I used to mountain bike, and I went up to the top of a mountain and got dropped off there. Me and my, I don't know what he was, trail guide, I guess, helping me to not fall off the mountain. And as we stood on the top of the mountain after the Jeep that brought us up left, there was nothing. There was this silence that was so incredible, unimaginable, really. I'd never experienced anything like it. And then after a few moments, a bird chirped. It was spectacular. It was spectacular. And the ride down was terrifying and exhilarating. Switchbacks with great big ruts in them. He had to teach me how to jump those ruts without falling off the edge when I got to the end so I could turn, come back. That was obviously a few years ago. Not last weekend. But there's an exhilaration that happens when we do something new. There's an excitement that we bring when we stretch ourselves to a bigger idea. There's an opportunity that occurs when we listen to that silence, because the sound of that bird was a sound I've never heard before nor since. And yes, I've heard many birds, but there was something about that moment that stands out in my memory because it was so unique. It was so precious. And there was only one other person to hear it with me. There was something rare about it. There was a special quality to it. This is who you are. You are that chirp in the silence. You're that chirp in the void. So spectacular, so remarkable, so gifted, so beautiful, so wonderful, so outrageous and outgoing and glorious and brilliant and quiet and calm, and whatever you are, it is fantastic. And if you will allow it out, you will touch someone so deeply that they will remember you years later. A chirp, one sound in the silence. That one sound, I'll never forget it. One sound. That's each one of us. We're in this expansive, divine void. And we're this little spark of energy within this nothingness. And it's up to us to spill the beans, to chirp our whatever that is that we chirp. It's time for us to just be it. Stop resisting and holding back. We're holding back the planet. We're holding back humanity. Not just us. Every time we hold back, it's an energy. It's like that hot pepper in the pot. You know, if you put in too much, it sort of erases everything else. And so when we resist life, we're erasing all the good around us. Well, not really. We're just impacting it a little bit. But what if we were to add good upon good upon good? And by good, I mean be you. I'm already taken, so can't have me. Be you. Be bright and brilliant. I watched a movie this week that I like. It's so fun. Dirty Dancing. I love dance movies. But what I really loved was the moment when Johnny's talking to Baby going, you're so smart. I got nothing. I got nothing. All I've ever been able to do is dance. And can he dance? Does he have nothing? No. He's a dancer. That's his life. And he's judging it as somehow wrong and bad because he's not the intellectual who will become a surgeon. He's a dancer. Do we love watching people dance? Yeah, we do, when they're really good at it. It's remarkable. It makes me smile and laugh and go, oh my goodness, I wish I could do that. It's amazing to watch when somebody sings and they're able to just belt out. You know, we listen to Shamroy and we listen to Marita and we listen to Voices of Praise and we listen to Genevieve. We listen to all these voices and I think, oh man, would I love to do that. It brings joy to my heart. It's that chirp in the void that lifts my soul and spirit because they're doing things that they love to do. So was his dancing less than the guy who was the doctor? No. That's his gift. That's his special something, something. And he thought it wasn't enough. We live in a world that has put a list of this is what's important and this is what isn't. And didn't we figure out the importance of the garbage man when it came time to have that strike? He all of a sudden had way more importance to me than the prime minister did. Let me just move you right up to the top of the list. We've got a list of who's good and who's bad and who deserves and who doesn't deserve. You know what? You're a child of God, you deserve. You're a child of God, you deserve. Not something, you deserve everything. You are an heir to the kingdom. Take it. Take it. Stop playing small. Stop pretending you're insignificant or unimportant. Stand up right now today and accept that you are the expression of the divine manifesting right now as you. And it is perfect. You are perfect. Beautiful, fabulous, wonderful. Don't you love hearing that about you? I feel good. Perfect. You're beautiful and wonderful and smart and intelligent. You're created in the image of the likeness. You are absolutely who you were meant to be, and everything about you is right. And if you think there's a flaw, that's the flaw. So stop it. Okay, just stop it. Just go, oh, somebody gave me that message. Let me return it to them. And let me stand in my greatness. Let me stand in my Christ consciousness. Let me stand in my brilliance. Let me be the dancer, the singer, the minister, the writer, the garbage man, the prime minister, the president, the whatever, the pianist. Let us be who God created us to be, and let's stop wishing we were something else. Let's stop looking at our gifts and talents and judging and criticizing them. Let's stand in them and go, this is great stuff. This is great stuff. This is God's stuff. This is the stuff I was given, and only I can do it in my way, and so I'm going to give it. I'm going to give it all. Are you ready to give your all? Did you write on your mirror that you're willing to live up to God's vision for your life? I did. My husband came in to the bedroom and he goes, somebody wrote on our bathroom mirror. I wonder who would do that. Live up to God's vision for your life. Answer the call. Don't put it off another minute, another day, another second. Answer the call. You owe it not just to yourself. You owe it to humanity. Because you are exactly what the world needs right now to be the most magnificent, most beautiful, most fabulous place to live. God bless.
All the way, I'm going all the way. know a place. Ain't nobody crying. Ain't nobody worried. All I see is smiling faces, lying to the races. All I say is take me there.
I'll take you there.
I'm asking, will you take me there?
I'll take you there.
Come on, won't you take me there?
I'll take you there.
One more time, just take me there.
I'll take you there.
I know a place. Ain't nobody crying. Ain't nobody worrying. All I see is smiling faces, lying to the races. All I say is take me there.
I'll take you there.
Come on, won't you take me there?
I'll take you there.
I'm begging you, please take me there.
I'll take you there.
Come on, won't you take me there?
I'll take you there.